Okay, we're going to go more than likely we will not finish chapter 6, all of it before Christmas break. So our test will be over whatever we do get through, though. So I don't want to try and rush through it and then not have you prepared. So we'll do it well enough, and then however far we are, where we will take our test. So chapter 6 is titled Simplifying Fractions. We've dealt with fractions in the past, but now our fractions are going to be different. And the fact that we've got variables in there, we've got multiple variables possibly. Most of these we are going to have to look at factoring first before we can simplify. So if we look at this top, that's part of it. You look at each part and then we start looking at how to simplify. So if we look at the top, what's common in both of those two terms? 3. So if we took out a 3, we now have 3 times a plus 2. What's common in this bottom? 3 as well. So if we took out the 3, we'd have a plus b. Now, just like regular fractions, if something's the same on the top and the bottom, we can reduce it or cancel it out. So we can cancel each part by 3. We can divide the top by 3. We can divide the bottom by 3. All we're left with is a plus 2 over a plus b. You might think, well, there's an a on the top and bottom, but because these are addition, you cannot do them separately. You cannot just cancel off the a because it is a plus 2. If you want to go ahead, this is almost the best way. Leave them in parentheses because the entire parentheses has to be the same. So if you have plus or minus, I would recommend putting them in parentheses. So that way, if the parentheses are not the same, we're done. So this would be our simplified answer. Is it real small? No, but it's a little bit smaller than that. Okay. So let's take the next example. X squared minus 9, 2x plus 1, 3 plus x. So the bottom, they've already factored out for us, which is helpful. Often it's not going to be that way. But the top, we look at, can we simplify that? We have subtraction, which the answer we get when we subtract is d. And we have 2 squares, so the difference of 2 squares. Difference of 2 squares, we know x. 9 gives us 3 and 3. One of them's plus, one of them's minus. 2x plus 1, and we get 3 plus x. Now we look at, is anything the same on the top and bottom? The order is different, but if we rewrote this plus 3, would it be any different? No. So since they are the same on the top and bottom in that parentheses, we can cancel the entire parentheses. So now we're left with x minus 3 and 2x plus 1. These two are completely different, so that is our simplified answer. So we took the problem, we did make it quite a bit smaller in this case. So we're going to be still doing quite a bit of factoring with this unit. This on the top, we have 2x squared plus x minus 3. And on the bottom, we have 2 minus x squared. Let's look at the bottom one. Normally, when we factor, where's our x squared? It's at the beginning. So if we rewrite the order, so I switched basically these two around, the middle one stayed in the middle. Now, the only issue we have with that is this is a negative. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. We could factor it, but I think it would be easier if we took a negative 1 out of each of these. If we took a negative 1 out, basically divide each of these by negative 1, we would get negative 1, and then we have positive x squared plus x minus 2. This is going to be a whole lot easier to factor with this being positive. If our x squared is positive, it's just going to be much simpler to do. So now let's work on the top. We have a factor in the front, and factors back. We need to multiply them to get 6. Factors of 6 that subtract to be positive 1. So 3 minus 2 would get us positive 1. So 2x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 3. I'm going to complete this whole top portion before I move to the bottom. 4 parts. Cut it in half. What's x? So we get this. What we're going across isn't going to be the best option today because you're going to run out of room. I would recommend just doing every step and going down. But you have more space. So we took out an x. We would get 2x plus 3. These are both negative, so we could take out a -1 and we get 2x plus 3. So if we rewrite that entire part, one parentheses is 2x plus 3. And the other parentheses is x minus 1 using these two. Okay. So now on the bottom, we don't have a leading coefficient, so we need factors of 2 that subtract to be 1, positive 1. 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 gives us positive 1. So we have x plus 2. We have x minus 1. Now I'm going to rewrite them down here. Negative x plus 2, x minus 1. Anything common top and bottom? These both have x minus 1. So now what we're left with, 2x plus 3 plus 3. We have x plus 2, but we cannot forget this. We can leave this in any one of 3 places. We can leave it here. We can leave it here. But the most often place that people would leave it would be right there in front. Okay. So if you have it, put it in front of your fraction. It's kind of like saying if you had -1/2, we could write it -1 over 2, 1 over -2, but most likely it would just be -1/2. So today, the biggest key is factor your top, factor your bottom, and then we go from there. Okay. Simplify as much as possible. All right. So what I want us to do on page 248, 249, 1 to 25 odd. 248, 249, 1 to 25 odd.